Okay, good morning. This week we're going to begin Unit 4, Week 5 of our Wonders unit. And our essential question this week is, how do people work with animals? So as students are reading through different texts, they will be trying to answer the question, how do people work with animals? Next, this week, our spelling words will feature words that have the Y acting as the long E sound. So we have key, bumpy, puppy, funny, penny, sandy, my, and then we have night, right, and could. Typically, the Y makes the long E sound in words that have two syllables. So funny, sandy. Those words have two syllables, so the Y at the very end makes the long E sound. In words such as my, where the word has one syllable, the I is going to make the long sound. So my is a review spelling word from the previous week, and so is night. Those are long I words. And then we have two of our sight words, right and would, that are also part of the spelling. We will not have a spelling test this week, but I do encourage parents to have students practice reading and writing their spelling words so they become very familiar with these spelling features. Next, we have our sight words, also known as high frequency words. These are words that are typically found very frequently within the reading. Students should be able to see and say these without sounding them out. We have found, hard, near, woman, would, and right. This right is not to be confused with the R-I-G-H-T when giving directions. This right is using pen and paper to write something down. Next, we have our oral vocabulary. These are words that students do not have to spell, but they do need to be able to use them correctly in conversations. They should understand the meaning of them and how to use them correctly. So we have the word clever, which means to be smart. Soothe, which means to gently calm someone. Signal, which means to give an action or show some type of information, such as directions. Trust means that you can rely or depend upon someone to do what they said they would do. Advice is to give information to help someone make a better decision. Career is similar to a job, however, it has more longevity. So a career is something that someone does for a very long period of time. So someone might work at Burger King for a couple weeks or a couple months, and that would be a job. But someone who became the manager of the Burger King and managed the store for many years, that would be their career as a manager. And then we have remarkable, which could mean something is amazing or wonderful or extraordinary. So again, these are words that students need to be able to use correctly when speaking to someone. So I do encourage parents and students to try to incorporate these words throughout the day while you're talking to each other. And lastly, we have grammar. So the first thing I'm going to talk about, and I'll just go over these briefly as we'll go over them more throughout the week. We have adverbs that tell when. So an adverb tells more about the verb within the sentence. So if the sentence was, Tim ran a race today, today is the adverb because it tells when Tim ran the race. It just gives more information. Next, we have compound words, and a compound word is made up of smaller words, and each smaller word has their own definition, and then when you put them together, they create a bigger word that also has its own definition. So in my example, we have pan, which is something you use to cook food with. And then you have cake, which is typically a dessert that's eaten after dinner or sometimes at parties. But when you put pan and cake together, you get pancake, and that is a breakfast food that is typically eaten in the morning. Next, we have commas in a series. When you write 3 verbs in a list, you're going to put a comma after the first 2 verbs. So in my example, I have I eat, sleep, and drink. This is a spiral review for students. We have worked on this before, so it should not be too new for them. We just want to keep emphasizing how to use commas. Again, we'll talk more about this during the week. And the last thing we want to talk about are root words. And a root word is a word that can stand alone. However, you can add different prefix suffixes to it to make a new word. So in our example, we have look as the root word, and you can add ing to make looking, or ed to make looked, or s to make looks. So when you add those suffixes, you get a whole new word.